Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Bulldog Business Show. I'm Aundrea Self, the Director of Outreach and Engagement here in the College of Business, and I'm looking forward to sharing all of the exciting things that are happening in the COB through this show. So a lot of what we will continue to do is highlight the people of the College of Business, including faculty and staff who work so hard here. We also want to share success stories of our students and alumni. So today, we're going to meet an alumnus who is really handling business globally, and also he's giving of his time to the COB. We're going to meet him in just a moment. But before we get to that, I do want to share a few business bites with you, which is what we'll do every time we have the show. So recently, the Office of Student Recruitment in the College of Business held its Academic Insight Day. Dozens of prospective students, including freshmen and transfer students and their parents, visited McCool Hall for a half day of events. They met departmental representatives. They talked with current students. They also attended some great breakout sessions and got some giveaways while they were there. This was a wonderful way to introduce these incoming students to the College of Business and give them a great tour of McCool Hall. The College of Business student ambassadors played a big role in making that day a big success. All right, now you need to mark your calendars. The Center for Entrepreneurship and Outreach is gearing up for Startup Summit 2025. This is a two-day event that will feature business plan competitions where contestants will be going head-to-head with their startup ideas and plans. Bulldog Business National Pitch Competition will feature student startups. They will be all over the country. And then the Mississippi Made competition is open to all startups that are based right here in the state of Mississippi. So Startup 2025 is April 24th and the 25th. Now, let's get to our guest today. William Washington is the Global Chief Financial Officer of Baker McKenzie. He's an alumnus of the College of Business, and we are so happy to have him here with us today. William, thanks so much for being here.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Welcome back to Bulldog Country, right?
I know. I feel like a student again.
Well, we're not going to make you do any work, but the assignment, though, is to share your journey today and to give our students some inspiration. So tell us a little bit about your journey before you got to Mississippi State University, a little bit of your background.
Wow, that could be a long story.
You've got about 40 seconds to tell us.
40 seconds, I know. Well, I was born now. I'm originally from Washington, D.C., and my parents ended up coming down here to teach at Mississippi State University, and I kind of followed behind as a young prospective freshman student. And Mississippi State really opened its doors to me, welcomed me with opening arms. Me and my son, I had a 3-year-old son when I attended the university. So I started off here in the College of Business, majoring in finance.
You have talked a lot in many different platforms about adversity that you faced early on in life that you didn't let stop you from reaching your goals. Talk a little bit about those things that you went through early on.
Yeah, I tell people anybody can have success. You know, I experienced a lot of different things as a young man. You know, I was a high school dropout, I was a college dropout, I was raised by a single parent, I became a single parent. I'm a child of divorce. I went through other emotional and physical and mental abuse early in my childhood years. And I was fortunate that Mississippi State had an amnesty program actually that got me into the university and got me started on my college journey, which really helped me to turn away from the things of the past and start to look towards my future.
Did you know coming to Mississippi State that business is what you were going to focus on, or was it just like, let me just get into college and find my way?
So when I got to Mississippi State, I was actually a single parent on food stamps. And what I knew is I didn't have any money, and I needed to understand the world of money. And so I said, I'm going to go to the university and I'm going to major in something that teaches me about the world and teaches me about money. And that's how I got into, it's actually a banking and finance degree.
So the experiences you had in the College of Business obviously prepared you for that first job out of college and to get you where you are now, which is really sort of at the top of your game, honestly. Talk about the experiences that led you and got you prepared for where you are.
Yeah, well, one thing is I didn't start off thinking that I would actually be successful as a student. You know, I came here and I originally just enrolled in the summer program, and I took a couple summer classes, and I did well. And after that, I started to find my path, you know, spending much of my day in class, and then I'd go to the library for like 3 hours a day, and then I'd go and play some basketball over at I can't even remember what it was called, but it's an old tin-roofed place.
McCarthy Gym, I think, is what it
Yeah,
was. It's
yeah,
not there
it
anymore.
was a great time.
That's how old you are. It's not there anymore.
I tell people you have to have time for your academics, and you also have to have time to let off steam. But there were a lot of other things that Mississippi State offered me. You know, there were programs and teams that I was a part of. I think it was called the Financial Planning and Analysis Student Organization. And when I joined that organization, it helped give me some leadership skills. So I was a vice president along with the president. And then that student organization took me to different places like the Federal Reserve in Atlanta and to companies in Chicago, companies that I still work with today based off that relationship I got when I was at Mississippi State.
I'm glad you point that out, because going to college is not just about showing up in class. It's those rich experiences in the extra stuff that you do that really makes you a whole person.
Yeah, I tell people you can't miss these opportunities. I mean, and the College of Business now has great opportunities. I think they have like a stock investment club. They have other many more activities that students can avail themselves of. And with the internet, they can even expand their outreach even further. And one of the more important things is to make sure you take time to find an internship, an opportunity to get some real world experience while you're in school, utilizing the breaks and the other opportunities that come.
Well, speaking of real world experience, you're getting a lot of it. When we come back on the other side of the break, we want you to talk about what you're doing now and then some advice that you would have for current students. Okay?
Sounds great.
All right, stay with us, everybody. We'll be right back.
Mississippi State University's College of Business creates connections that can change lives, with more than $2 million available in scholarships next year. Take advantage of the top research institution in the state. Professors have practical experience in their field, and students have the opportunity to work on live projects with partner companies. Earn your MBA online in as few as 10 courses from U.S. News & World Report's Top 100 program. Give your business career a head start. Visit business.msstate.edu to learn more.
All right, we're back, everyone, with our guest today, William Washington, who is a Mississippi State College of Business alum, and we're also very proud of him. He is the Global Chief Financial Officer for Baker McKenzie, and we ended up last segment talking about sort of your journey at Mississippi State. You are now coming back. You're now serving on a board with the Department of Finance and talking to students, and you were a featured speaker last year. Talk about being able to come back and give back to Mississippi State.
Wow, it's the greatest honor that I've ever had was to be invited back to be the featured speaker. When I graduated in 1996, the featured speaker was the CEO of Delta and Pineland Company in Greenville, Mississippi, and I ended up taking my first job there because I met him here at a dinner event between the students and the featured speaker.
Connections.
Yes, it always works.
Yes.
It's a great way to kind of get connected to jobs and companies and a real world experience. So now I like to come back and speak. I like to speak to students offline. I have them connect with me on LinkedIn. And also being a part of the board gets me access to what's happening here on the university.
So when you were here as a Leo Seal Distinguished Speaker last year, there are tales I'm hearing about a handstand that was done in class.
You know, I learned to do a handstand in like 7th or 8th grade with my best friend Jimmy Geist, and it's something that I've just carried with me ever since then, and I try to do a handstand whenever I travel the world. I've done them in front of the Louvre in Paris. I've done it at Disney World. I've done it in Hawaii.
So
on the
when
beach.
do you pull out the handstand? Is it when it looks like the crowd's not feeling me too much? Let me do something to get their attention.
Well, the crowd has to be looking the other way first and foremost in case I don't do it properly. But if I find a spot that has a good background, I just pop up, and my family knows. Pull out the cameras quickly because I can't hold it but so long. And there was a student who challenged me while I was speaking because I had a picture on the screen of me doing a handstand.
All right.
And so I had a suit on and everything, and I just pulled out my
happen.
keys and made it happen. And he said he'd give me a gift card if I did it for the audience.
Well, tell us about the work that you do with Baker McKenzie.
Well, I'm the Global Chief Financial Officer for Baker McKenzie, which is the largest law firm in the world. We do almost $3.5 billion a year, and we have 6,000 attorneys around the world. So we operate in 46 different countries, and part of my job is I get to travel to all those countries in order to make sure that we're profitable as a law firm. So I just got back from Dubai last week. I spent 3 weeks in Asia with my daughter, traveling to our different offices there. And I'm responsible for all financial operations for the firm, but most importantly, my job is to make sure we make money.
You said at the beginning of our conversation that you wanted to choose a career or a major at Mississippi State that taught you how to count money and make money, and so now you're counting $3 billion.
Yeah, who knew? You know,
Yeah,
I don't think I was counting $3 back then, and now it's $3.5 billion a year. And it's a dream job for me. It's a great opportunity just to be, you know, a student from Mississippi State University who's traveling the world. And, you know, I try to represent Mississippi State wherever I go.
Hail State cowbell and all.
I have cowbells all over my desk so that people know that Mississippi State represents.
What is the advice that you would have for current students who are in the College of Business or just any college here on the campus about charting your course for what you're going to do next?
Yeah, well, there's two key pieces of advice that I think I would give. When I first started working, my first job was working for another alumni from Mississippi State. And he told me to point myself towards one of the C-suite positions. And I don't even know if I knew what a C-suite position was back then, but it just seemed logical to point it towards the CFO. And so I definitely think having a target, even if you don't know what it's going to be, just to put a direction out there and start walking in that direction. And then second bit of advice I'd give people is to make sure that you're always preparing yourself for that next role. And so for me, I got an undergrad degree here at Mississippi State, but I've gone on to get an MBA. I got another master's in law firm management. I got other certifications. I've always made sure that I continue to be a lifelong learner because I know that's going to prepare me for that next role, even though I may not know what that next role is going to be.
So it's preparing yourself so when the opportunity is ready to meet you, you can take
Absolutely. I did in school when I was preparing as a student, I had no idea that I would be sitting at that dinner table with the CEO of Delta and Pineland, but I was prepared and ready because of the work that I had done in the classroom, prepared me to have that conversation with the CEO and get that first job.
And that started with that connection. So in about 30 seconds, because we're running out of time, making connections and networking is so vitally important. Sometimes it's who you know to get your foot in the door.
Absolutely. And students today have access to LinkedIn. I have all of my kids. I have 4 kids. I tell them the very first thing, set up a LinkedIn profile. I don't care if you're 13, 14, 15 years old. Get it started early. Build as many connections as you can. Don't just connect to the 2 or 3 people you know. And eventually that network will become your network. And it's going to be your network that's going to present and create opportunities for you.
All right. Go out there and follow William Washington on LinkedIn.
Yes,
You'll get a lot of cool nuggets. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be back on campus, and it's great to see you again.
You too. Congratulations on all your success. Keep in touch with us.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Before we go, I do want to remind you, as I will remind you on every Bulldog Business Show, about Club 1915. This is your opportunity to stay engaged with the College of Business. There is a QR code there on your screen. So pull out those devices, scan that QR code. It will take you to a link. They'll give you more information about Club 1915, and it will let you sign up right away and start contributing monthly. This will give you access to information from the dean on a monthly basis and also get invited to some really cool events that we host. So we hope that you will join us and watch us grow throughout the year. That's all of our time today. Thank you so much to our guest, and we will see you back here next time on the Bulldog Business Show.